will Jimmy Garoppolo be around?
I think he's going to be on the team during training camp. I think he'll be more of a safety valve, and it's a really expensive safety valve, but safety all the time, all the same. I think they're going to give Trey Lance an opportunity to start in ball games. I think they want to see it. I don't think he'll play a ton in the preseason, so they'll keep a ton of backup quarterbacks to play in the preseason, but I don't know if either of them play on preseason. It's not worth the injury risk to Jimmy G with his cap number, and it's not worth the injury risk to the guy who you want to start. But they also need him to get reps. They need Trey Lance to get live reps. If the schedule is the rumored schedule that came out of them playing Carolina, then Atlanta first.
What he said was if they're really playing Carolina, Atlanta the first two games, and those are two good games for him to play in.
Those are road games too, so it would be a little East Coast.
2 games of the season is accurate.
See, now it's playing again. Yes, those were now again. Are the pre-release rumors usually accurate?
No, I mean, I saw yesterday when we were doing our live stream, like, you guys got any takes about the rumors out there about their opening schedule?
Yeah.
And I think if you look at the last several years, they have not opened at home.
The Cardinals 2 years ago, I looked because you're right. Somebody said, hey, it gets too hot. They start on the road. The Cardinals game a couple years ago was a home game.
The Super Bowl year, though, remember, was Jameis. They started on the road.
And then last year was, they've done, it's been a lot of road
Philly,
games.
Detroit, and the 3-hour road trip, right? So 2 of the last 3 years, they've done 3-hour road trip. Last year was what? Detroit and Philly back-to-back?
Yeah.
So this year, the rumor would be pretty similar in a Carolina-Atlanta back-to-back, which you and I had hammered home, Seattle at home. I don't know if you could be that mad at Carolina-Atlanta opening. Right?
You wouldn't be that mad. You don't love the time zone part of it, but you wouldn't
go out
mad.
Early. I mean,
if that part's true,
get out the road trip early too. Just get it out.
I checked today. I went to the internet and I just typed Levi Stadium concerts. October 9th, Elton John's in town. That is the Sunday of week 5. So would they start 3 of their first 5 games on the road? Would they play Thursday night football at home, week 5? Would they play Monday night football at home, week 5? You'd have to do something with them. 2 road games, then week 3 and week 4, presumably then they'd be back home. If they're not back home week 5, which is when they have Elton John. I don't know if you saw the Sam Farmer article, but he talked to the schedule makers. Same article every year. It's always a good article. I always enjoy it. And they're like, yeah, teams say, Taylor Swift is coming in. Can you move a game for us? But a lot of people have that type of deal. But October 9th.
So what if the league says, no, we can't? Do you have to tell Taylor Swift she has to move her date?
Yeah, I guess you do. I don't know. Depends what the cancellation fee is. Maybe do both on the same day. But
Philadelphia freedom. I would see Elton John probably. I don't know if I'd pay for the tickets, but if someone gave it to me, I would be interested.
Not on a football Sunday, but maybe on
not
the
on
Saturday,
a football Sunday
before.
I'd say Friday night. I would go
Friday night. But anyway, just another part of the schedule, something to keep in mind. They've got Elton.
I like that Richard. He's kind of like Draymond. I mean, he's locked into the rumors of the opening schedule. They're very similar, Richard and Draymond. I think they're made for this.
So
a podcast game. I think he knows, like, this guy negotiated his own contract with Parag, Kyle, and John, right? Remember last year when that thing happened with Richard and the father-in-law, like, John had his back. And part of it's Stanford family. But I think their relationship is pretty unique. I would put it like the Joe Staley. I mean, Richard honestly probably vibes more with them than he does like a 22-year-old teammate, even though he does vibe with a 22-year-old teammate like Staley. Like, if you told, like, who did Joe hang out with last 4th of July? Kyle fucking Shanahan and his friends. Richard is on those guys' level. So the difference between Chris Sims, the irony too, is like Chris and Kyle share a tattoo. I didn't realize that picture that you put out or retweeted or reposted on Instagram of Kyle, and I guess the Niners posted it, right? Of the 80. I didn't realize that Kyle's like getting on the field for them in like real games. Like, he kind of, if I was him, I'd like, that would be my Twitter profile.
I thought I would have that photo up in my office. It was a really good photo. Yeah,
it was a good photo, but I don't think Richard's just, I'm not saying he's not taking it. He's taking an educated guess. I think he's got a pretty good idea. He'd still, I mean, I remember texting with him about Emmanuel Mosley or DMing with him. Like, I think he's got a pretty good vibe of the thing and just what people think. So this might not like Kyle or John told him this, but I bet he's kind of got to feel like, I think the coaches Because how would you talk when you work? The way players talk about their coaches is the way us normal people talk about like our bosses. He doesn't. I don't think he really likes me, or I think he likes me. It's no different. Like the coach is kind of more into this guy.
Part of it might be like, to your point, he knows John Lynch very well, so he maybe when everyone else is guessing, is John Lynch just bluffing for leverage, or does John Lynch really mean we're not going to just give Jimmy away? Richard Sherman might hear that and go, "Oh, I know John Lynch is serious because I know John Lynch." Right? It could be that could be part of it. It's like, yeah, John Lynch is going to keep him on the team. And I know Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to just get rid of a quarterback that he knows he can win with.
Wouldn't you say too?
It might be very simple in Richard's mind. Like, they got a quarterback other people aren't going to just trade for him, and they know they can win with him. Why wouldn't they keep him around?
Wouldn't you say an underrated part about the way we talk about Richard's relationship with the Niners? His stint feels shorter than it actually was. Like, he was here 3 years. That's not a season. Right, you're with 3 years with someone. You get pretty tight with the operation and the organization.
Yeah, it
Plus
feels like
rehabbed. Doesn't it feel like it was shorter than it actually was? Partly because he was injured.
Remember, we showed up.
Twice.
He was hurt. Remember, or I guess he wasn't participating, and he was acting much more like a coach than a player.
And then he was injured at the end.
That first,
it feels like he really just played the one season.
Seems like he has a better relationship with the Niners than he does with the Seahawks.
Yes, well, it feels like. Well, and I was gonna put Earl in the crew, but you see, like, Earl's on the run.
Yeah, I did see that.
It's kind of sad, but it's now ended, pretty poorly for two guys that immediately had top teams interested in them, right? Like, I think who Richards just all-pro Niners, and then the Bucks signed him. Bobby Wagner, free agent. Who wants him? Ravens, Niners, Rams. Like, it's like their players aren't like, who wants this guy? Oh, the Texans just signed Rex Burkhead. It's
Need
like,
a body.
Yes, that ain't the thing. It's just he had to sign with the Lions.
Yep.
So Pete, I got Pete a little red flagged on just the way, and I'm bad at breakups too. I'm bad at endings and saying goodbye. But Pete's really terrible at it with like his star players, which is a little weird, isn't it?
My experience, you're actually not that different from Pete in your goodbyes. You just disappear. The Irish goodbye.
Yeah, but it's to me, I'm a big believer. Like, you're not just having some cocktails or whatever. It's a little different than like if you're at
a party. Yeah.
If you're at a mom,
right. You've never left a one-on-one. I've never been sitting there with you and then you were gone. But like, I've been to a party or two. Or Middlekauff's just gone. Like, where'd Middlekauff go? Went home.
Fine move.
Found somebody.
Day drinker, not a night drinker.
Yeah, I understand. If you want to hear it on Richard Sherman's podcast, you can go check it out. He talks a little more about the Niners there.
He hosted by himself.
He's got his friend of the
guy.
show who chimes in and bounces some questions off him and that kind of thing. Yeah. I forget the guy's name. Got a really good voice.
Do you agree that like him and Draymond are very, very similar in just terms of like their avenue in their sport and just how they're unique personalities, but also just their name recognition, and they bring an element of credibility, but they're not cookie cutters. Like, Richard's going to say what he believes. Draymond's just going to say what he believes, but they're actually, I would say both. Richard is probably less controversial than I think people assume. Like he just talks pretty normal. I think Draymond kind of picks his spots and does it, where Richard really is just talking much closely. Like he just breaks things down like a GM would or something.
Yeah. I think Mitch Eisenstein is the guy. But I think what's similar about them is the sports world came to really know them from like the way they act on the field, right? Like quote outburst. And then when you hear them talk, you go, "Oh, this is a really well-rounded person with, a lot of insight." And I think they're very similar in that way, in that they like introduce themselves to the world in one particular way, right? Richards was on the biggest stage, was the biggest moment was the interview he did with Aaron. Right. Yeah. Aaron Andrews.
As he just made the biggest play of the game.
But they talk at this level, like they talk like this mostly, right? They just kind of talk like this.
You know, another thing that parallels the two of them, both of them, their college coaches would like take a bullet for Izzo and David. I mean, I would say the David Shaw and Tom Izzo,
his position coach. His head coach was Jim Harbaugh, and
but David coached him for a year, didn't he?
Did he get him for 1 year?
You're right. I guess David feels like the head coach, but
David, his receiver coach.
His receiver coach. But I consider David.
Did he coach him for 1 year?
Maybe.
Well, Richard didn't play with Luck, did he?
Well, Jim was drafting, right? And he didn't draft him, but
I'm saying
gone in January.
Did Richard play with Luck? Because Luck was Jim's last year, was with Andrew at the Orange Bowl. Right.
I think Richard played 1 year with David Shaw because I think Richard's rookie season was 2012. No, you're right. So he was drafted in 2011. What was Harbaugh's first year with Alex Smith? 2011, right? He was there 11, 12, 13, and 14. So, yeah, he never would have played for David Shaw. But point still stands. David Shaw and Tom Izzo. 100%. If you said, how do you consider Richard Sherman and Draymond Green individually for both guys, they would consider them a family before a former player, right?
Yeah.
Because they love the person.
Right. Because they are winners. That's the other thing. They're winners.
Yeah, and just clearly when you hear him talk. Now, Draymond, Richard does, I think, but I've never heard him say this on the podcast. Like Draymond's thing today, his main take was like, I can be getting cooked all that game. Like Jaren Jackson can be giving me the business. He can be scoring. He can have a great game. It is disrespectful to have the final play of the game go against me. That is like that to me is like Richard Sherman, Seattle. Like he would. I don't feel like Richard talks like that anymore. Now, Richard's career, like Richard might be done. Draymond's still, I don't know, quote unquote, the prime, but he's still. I mean,
he started a podcast while he's closer to his prime than he is to being washed up.
Yeah, I mean, Richard's. The story I saw yesterday was like, if Richard goes to Amazon, he won't necessarily retire. He'll keep his options open, but he'll focus on media stuff.
We'll stay in shape.
Yeah,
that was part of the story. He'll stay in shape.